Next turn, let's pass this first player token. Now let's go straight to upkeep. Bob's stuck. Patrice, Patrice loses a stamina for being in the icy winds, and so does Charlie. Ouch. So Patrice is now in kind of bad shape as far as stamina goes, so I'm going to send her to the hospital to get some of her stamina back. I also need to give Patrice a clue for a gate opening. She has 5 now. That's how many you need to seal a gate. I'd love to send her in, but she's got low stamina. So if I can get her 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces down to the hospital, then I can give her some medical care. Charlie, on the other hand, I gotta refresh that. Charlie, his plan is to continue to get clues and money if possible. So I kind of might have to choose between money or clues at this point. I'm going to send him to the Historical Society and hope that he can do something interesting there. So I will... 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll leave the sliders where they are right now. And let's go. So Patrice has 3 movement for her 3 speed. 1, 2, 3, and she's encountered Charlie, so she may trade money or items. I don't see any benefit to trading anything at this point. So they can't trade clues or trophies, so they're just gonna, I guess, nod at each other and continue moving. So Patrice will use the fellow travelers for an additional movement and go to the hospital. Charlie's going to use his 2 movement to get to the Historical Society and pick up a second clue. Bob's only option is to recover from being delayed in the Abyss. What a lovely place to be, I'm sure. Phase 3 is Arkham Encounters. Patrice is at the hospital, so at this particular place she may opt to get medical care instead of a random encounter. And one way to get medical care is to spend $2 to fully restore your stamina, and she will do that. Charlie's random encounter is at the Historical Society. The society members are birdwatching in the woods. The janitor offers you a ride there. Do you accept? No. Yes, I do need money, and hopefully I can get some there. So, if you accept, move to the woods, draw 2 encounter cards, and pick one. Okay, that's good. So they drive me over to the woods, even though I could have just walked there in about 30 seconds. But, who's complaining? Okay, my 2 options for encounters are: you meet an old wise man in the grove who offers to share his wisdom with you if you accept. We'll see. And a gate and monster appear. Well, I'm not prepared for that, so I'm going to take the other one. So the question is, do I accept to share his wisdom? That's probably going to be a lore check, and my lore is only 2. So, no, I think I'll just kind of politely shrug off the old hobo and leave him to whatever it is that makes him happy. Okay, well now it's phase 4, and somebody is in another world, so they get a random encounter in the Abyss. That would be Bob. So I draw cards until the color matches one of the colors of the world. I've drawn a blue and we're good. So I just gotta find the listed world. Bob says a hideous monster appears. Well, that means Bob encounters a random monster. He's got holy water, he's got dynamite, he's got decent will and full health. He'll probably pull through, but anything could happen. This could be anything. So let's see what we got. We have got a maniac, which now becomes the easiest monster, now that cultists are not the easiest monsters. So my options are to evade combat with this monster, if it particularly is nasty, or opt to enter combat. So I'm going to enter combat. So the first thing I'll do is make a horror check. There's none for a maniac, that's this week at least. Then I go to a combat check, so my fight, I can choose now to flee the battle, why would I do that, or fight him. I'm going to fight. I've got a fight power of 3. The maniac itself gives me a bonus because he's easy to push over. I could use one of my weapons, but they're one-time use, so I'm not going to be using them. And because of my friendly rivals, since Patrice has more monster trophies, I get +1 bonus to combat. So I get 5 dice to try to destroy this thing. Since the monster has a toughness of 1, I need 1 success or more. And I have rolled no successes. Alright, my options now are spend clues, no, too valuable. Use the lucky cigarette to reroll the whole thing, or just accept failure, which I will do for this reason. Failure against this monster is 1 stamina damage, so Bob will suffer 1 stamina. And now I get to do the combat check a second time, which is another 5 dice. So it is essentially at the cost of only 1 stamina. And this time I've rolled 3 successes, which means I've destroyed him. Maniac, that is, not Bob. And now I have this Maniac as a trophy. Great! Now we go on to phase 5, Mythos phase. Before I continue, I'll draw our attention to this card up here that reminds me that for 3 investigators, the open gate limit is 7. That is, there can only be 7 gates open. Once the 7th gate opens, the Ancient One immediately fills up his Doom Track and awakens. So, even if the Doom Track isn't high, I need to keep gates low. Alright, so a gate opens at the woods. Well, couldn't get away from it, apparently. They get sent to the Great Hall. A Doom token's added to the Doom Track. A monster emerges from the woods. So the monster that we get is another cultist. The crawling one, which I didn't name earlier, that came out of the abyss, wanders into the streets. Crawling one might be the nastiest, one toughness monster out there. So I can't decide which one I'm more afraid of. The very strong cultist or the very weak crawling one. Just because their scope of damage is so different. A clue will appear at the Historical Society. And we have a headline. The Southside Strangler suspected. However, the press is mistaken. The murders that were thought to have been caused by the Southside Strangler were instead caused by 2 monsters that were released into the Southside streets. Okay, we now have 5 monsters in town. One of them is an Elder Thing. They're dangerous. And the other thing is Lane Spider. They're really dangerous. So, one of the other stats on this card is that for 3 players, the monster limit is 6. There can only be 6 monsters in town, so that we don't get overrun. But the counter to that is, if we ignore monsters and let more and more pile up, they go instead into the outskirts space. We won't deal with them directly, but if too many occur here, the terror level starts to rise. So we can't just ignore monsters indefinitely. Or else we risk the terror level increasing. Okay, well, there's that headline. We have a new turn past the first player. Do our upkeep stuff. Have I been remembering to actually give Patrice her tokens? I think so. I will really try to give her tokens. Okay, well, Charlie and Bob are the ones in other worlds, and they don't have 5 clue tokens. That's not good. Patrice does have 5 clue tokens. I could send her into a gate. But I need to send her into one that's unique, that nobody else is in right now. So that's only the Plateau of Lang. So she can get 4 movement. And she can. She'll go right in. Charlie and Bob, on the other hand, I think they just have to wait it out. I'll consider whether or not I should close their gates when they return. We'll see. We'll see what fate has done for us. But first to move is Charlie. He stands up from his delirium. Next to move is Bob. In the other world, your only option is to advance to the 2nd space. And for Patrice, she's going to move 1, 2, 3, plus an additional 4th, onto the Witch House. Okay. Arkham encounters. These 2 do not get them because they're not in town. And since Patrice is on a new gate, her only option is to enter the gate voluntarily and go to the Plateau of Lang. Phase 4 is where everybody in the other world will get encounters now. So Charlie gets his first at the Great Hall of Seleno. Just draw these until I get a valid target. Okay. Charlie, pass a luck -1 check to discover a cache of ancient papers containing valuable information about the mythos. So luck -1 check. My luck is currently 3. -1 is 2. I have rolled 1 success. And this thing says, get a clue token for every success you roll. Fantastic. That's 1. It's better than nothing. Next is Bob's encounter at the Abyss. Pass a speed -1 check to grab the carving before it falls. It must be an interesting and important carving, but my speed is 3, so 3 -1 is 2. I passed the check, I grabbed the carving, and the carving has engraved on it a random spell. So now Bob gets a spell called Enchant Weapon, which is notoriously one of the weakest spells in existence. But I suppose if you're backed into a corner and all you have is a physical weapon, and the thing you're up against is immune to physical weapons, well, you can make it magical with this spell. So, in my 10 years or so of playing this game, I'm not sure I've ever used that. Maybe one time. But who the hell knows, right? Okay, finally, we have Patrice's encounter in Plateau of Lang. A vast stirring rumbles through the plateau. Pass a sneak +0 check, or else you roll a die and lose that much stamina. Can't have that. So this time I do know the penalty. This is a sneak +0 check? Well, I've got only 2 sneak. Now, unfortunately, this is probably a problem to fail this, so I will be willing to spend a clue. She'll still have 5 if I do. Oh, that's too bad. I'm gonna hedge a bet. I'm gonna bet another gate will open soon, so I'll spend 1 more clue, but that's it. And she's failed. Unfortunately, I'm not willing to spend any more. She's just gonna have to suffer whatever happens to her, so I will roll a die and lose that much stamina. In this case, it's 2. Oof. Could have gone worse. Could have gone worse. Okay, phase 5 is Mythos. We have a gate opens at the Black Cave. So there's already a gate open here. What instead happens is that we get a monster surge. So 1 monster emerges from every open gate. Oof. There's 5 in town right now, and we only have room for 1, and it has to appear on the Black Cave. So the thing that appears there is a zombie. Not too bad. But we still have 2 more monsters we have to put out. There's no room for them, so they must go to the outskirts. The outskirts has a limit of 5. If that's ever exceeded, the terror level increases. So it can only fit 5 comfortably, because there's 1 maniac that goes up there, and a dimensional shambler. Ooh. Okay. Does anything move in town? Yes. The Lang spider starts wandering. No clue appears this time, and now we have the 3rd type of Mythos card. A rumor. They are the nastiest. A rumor will stay out until we meet a pass or a fail condition, in which case we get a penalty, or rather a bonus or a penalty. So this rumor is called Disturbing the Dead. At the end of every Mythos phase, immediately after this one, I roll a die, and if I roll a 1 or a 2, the terror level increases by 1. So as long as we ignore this, the terror level is going to keep sporadically rising. To pass this rumor, a single player has to discard 2 gate trophies in the River Town streets, which is here. The reward for passing this rumor is that everybody draws a spell. Great. If the terror level reaches 10, we fail the rumor, and as a penalty, everybody's cursed. That's not good, but we're pretty far away from that, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll just put this here to remind us that's where we take care of the rumor. Now, because I've got 2 characters who are in other worlds without enough clues to seal, I might consider just closing the gate in order to obtain the trophy to help work us towards solving that rumor. Certainly for Bob. I mean, he's not any closer. So, here's a new turn. Let's see. Bob is just going to emerge from his gate, and we'll say he'll just try to close it. So his gate is a -2, which means he needs, if he's using fight or lore, which are the stats he used to close a gate, well, I'm going to have to raise his fight to improve my chances of actually passing the gate closing check. Patrice is just going to wander, and then Charlie is also going to wander. Okay, well. Bob emerges from his gate. I get a freebie to avoid the zombie, but I'm going to opt to have him kill it so it'll be out of his way. So he's going to voluntarily enter combat with the zombies. The first thing I do is a horror -1 check, which he passes. Then a combat -1 check. I think he might just use his fists. He's got 4 dice if he just uses fists. And he needs 1 success, so he actually single-handedly, maybe double-handedly, took out a zombie. Fantastic. So, Patrice moves forward a space. Charlie moves forward a space. So, onto Arkham encounters. Bob's only options are try to close the gate or do nothing, and as I already decided, I think he'll try to close the gate. So, his fight is higher than his lore. He'll use his fight to close the gate. It's 4. -2 from the gate check, or gate modifier. He rolls 2 dice. And he has failed. But I'm not... Jeez, Billy. I do need to keep us moving, though, so I will discard his lucky cigarette case to re-roll the entire check. I failed. I just have to accept failure. Oh well. Now for the other world encounters. Patrice gets 1 at the Plateau of Lang. The loathsome villagers send out their strongest warrior to fight you in unarmed combat. Pass a fight -1, difficulty 2 check to defeat him, and draw a unique item and get a clue token. Okay, so what that all means is that I make a fight -1 check, in which case I get 1 die. Difficulty 2 means I need 2 successes, and with 1 die, I have to automatically fail this unless I spend clues. Now, my problem is that I don't have enough to seal unless she scrapes out of this and survives. I get the distinct impression that I'm going to be knocked unconscious if I fail this, which means I'll fail my personal story. But I think it's better than just blowing all her clues, so... I don't know. Well, I get to roll 1 die regardless. Let's say if I get a success, I will spend 1 clue to try to get another success, and if I get a failure, I'll just accept failure. I fail. Okay, what happens is that I lose 1 sanity and 2 stamina, so I am on the brink. She's at 1 and 1. Anything could push her over the edge. Wow. I failed to fight their... This violinist going up fisticuffs against this alien, I don't know, this alien wrestler or whatever. Of course she's not going to do well. But it's now Charlie's encounter in the Great Hall of Celiano. Passed a luck -2 check to find a valuable book. Well, his luck is 3, which means he gets 1 die. And he fails it, but I think I'll be okay for failing this. Let's find out. I just don't find a book. Better than blowing my clues to try to find one. Okay, we have a new Mythos card. A gate opens at the Unnameable, which is just actually a name for a house. So here's the Unnameable, gate opens here. Patrice will get a clue for that, which means she has enough to seal. A Doom token's added, so our friend is up to 4. Ooh. Slowly he's getting there. Not happy about it. Then another monster emerges, and we have space for 1 monster, so at the Unnameable emerges another Lang spider. This cultist moves. This cultist moves. Clue appears in the woods, but there's a gate there. What we have is the headline that reads, Ghost Ship Docks by Itself. An ancient ghost ship arrives in Arkham, releasing 2 monsters into the Merchant District streets. Well, there's no space for them, so they have to go to the outskirts. So the outskirts is getting pretty close to overflowing. So I will place the monsters there. Alright. So to conclude this turn, I have to roll a die for the rumor, disturbing the dead. If I roll a 1 or a 2, the terror level increases by 1. Okay. Not this time.